So as of about 6 hours ago, the transfer market officially closed. That's England's transfer market at least anyway. Obviously foreign clubs can still buy from England for the next 3 weeks, as the actual transfer market doesn't shut until the end of August. So obviously in my last video I explained why I thought each team would come where. So in this video, if teams are, sort of like 1 or 2 places down or above from where I put them last time, it's really just to make room for the teams that I either think will do significantly better or significantly worse. So I won't give an explanation of sort of why, for example, I might have put Bournemouth 1 place higher than I did in the last video. And I've also made a few juicy changes to the top 6, so I'd stick around to the end. Starting off with the relegation zone, in 20th place we've got Cardiff still. Neil Warnock for me, like I said before, he's just not a Premier League manager. He's good in the Championship, not in the Premier League. And the players they brought in, the squad that they still have, it's still a Championship squad. Not good enough to compete in the Premier League, in my opinion. And then next, in 19th place, we've got Huddersfield, which in the last video I predicted them to get 18th. I still think they're going to get relegated, just 1 position lower. 18th now, we've got Southampton. Now this is like the big change. I predicted Southampton to escape relegation last time, and now I've put them at 18th, so I think Southampton might be going down. This is purely because I think nothing's really changed at Southampton. But obviously a few things have changed at Fulham since I last recorded the video, not necessarily since I last uploaded it, I don't think. So I've had to drop Southampton into the relegation zone, and I guess I didn't really think about before, like, how much of an effect them losing Tadic really is. And to be honest, I just don't really rate Mark Hughes at all. I think they'll probably be one of the first managers to be sacked this season. Coming into 17th, we've got Brighton. Again, as mentioned before, they're kind of still in the same area as I put them last time. Good defensively, I think they'll stay in the Premier League, but only just. Now in 16th, dropping 2 places since the last video, is Watford. They've now officially not signed anyone else, obviously after losing Richarlison. They've not managed to find a suitable replacement. The team's looking a bit, where's it going to get its goals from? Now in 15th place, dropping 5 places, I've put Newcastle. Now I've put Newcastle in 15th just because now the transfer window is closed. They haven't actually spent any money. I feel it was maybe stupid of me to put them in 10th in the first place, because I was kind of assuming they might sign someone, but no. 14th now, we've got Leicester. They're just another team that, they've kind of moved a couple of places down. I think I put them 12th last time. Sorry, I put them 11th, but obviously now they haven't actually signed a replacement for Mahrez. Mahrez obviously really being the best player. They have, however, secured a new deal for Jamie Vardy until 2022. But if he's got no one sort of providing him with the service, is he going to score as many goals? I don't think so. Now in 13th, and making a big jump from where I put them last time, which was 19th, is Fulham. Fulham, like in the last video when I mentioned they'd lost Ryan Fredericks, but at the time of recording, Fulham hadn't really made any huge or like major signings, which made me think that they could potentially stay in the Premier League. And I thought with the weakened team that they have and the sort of the attacking football that they do play, it was maybe not best suited to a team that was going to be battling relegation, and therefore I thought they were going to sort of fold out. However, since then, Fulham have brought in Alfie Mawson from Swansea, obviously as well Andre Schürrle from Dortmund. 2 huge signings for them, and both probably Premier League quality. They also signed Seri Maximise in the midfield, who was linked to Arsenal, Chelsea and Barcelona at some point in the transfer window, and Fulham have managed to secure his signing. And obviously the big one, they've managed to keep Ryan Sessegnon, which not many people thought they'd do. I think that's really good for him, the fact that he's sort of now come to the Premier League and stayed with Fulham. I would have understood if he kind of left if Fulham had not have got promoted, but I think he should at least give them a season now they're in the Premier League to sort of get some good game time and experience. In 12th, I've got Palace. Now obviously now the transfer window is shut, they've kept Wilfried Zaha, as the only real interest was from Tottenham, and obviously now they can't buy him, so it seems like he'll be staying. Now in 11th, I put Burnley. I put them just a few places short of what I did last time. I think the fact that they haven't strengthened the squad only weakened it. And like I mentioned in the last video, Sean Dyche loves to sort of keep his same 11. He doesn't really like to change much. And playing the Europa League as well can have a really negative effect on where they finish in the league. In 10th, I've put Bournemouth, moving up from 13th place last time. I've done this was kind of more of like a gut one. I thought obviously with just placing these other teams slightly different, I needed to find a new home for Bournemouth. And personally, I rate Eddie Howe a lot as a manager, and I think this could potentially be a sort of breakout season where, maybe after the season he gets 10th with Bournemouth and, gets like a big job, or maybe not like a big job, like not a huge job, but he gets a job that's bigger than Bournemouth, and somewhere where he can fully maximise his potential as a manager. In at 9, I've got Wolves, and I've moved them up to 9th from 12th, purely just for the reasons of I was reshuffling obviously the other teams around them, and I was like, well, realistically, do Wolves look like they're going to finish better than teams like Bournemouth and Palace? In my opinion, yes. So I've had to move them up to, you know, sort of the position that would best suit them. I'm really bad at explaining this, but yeah, I've got Wolves 9. I've kept Everton where they were from the last video, and that is in 8th position. I mean, they've not done anything since I last spoke about them. Obviously, they've signed Richarlison, they've kept hold of Pickford. It could be a good season for Everton. I mean, only time will tell. 7th, again in the same position, I've put West Ham United. Now, obviously, like I mentioned before, they've got Pellegrini, who's a proven Premier League manager, and has obviously won the competition with Manchester City. Now, since making the last video, they have strengthened again and added the signing of striker Lucas Perez from Arsenal, who is a player that could actually be really good for them, but wasn't really given much of a chance at Arsenal. But now moving into the top 6, and there is quite a few changes in the top, well, there's a couple of changes in the top 6, but not that many. In 6th, I've still got Chelsea. Now, I've still got Chelsea just, I think, purely because, especially after watching the game against Manchester City in the Community Shield, you could see Chelsea were almost trying to play this expansive football that Sarri's going to be bringing to them, but at times their players just looked lost. You can't really blame them for that because Chelsea have been a side for a number of years now that have sort of sat deep and then hit teams on the counter-attack, whereas now they're going to be this team that's pressing on the front foot and trying to win the ball up high, which of course is such a big tactical change, and I think this is just going to have to be a bedding-in period for Chelsea, like a bedding-in season. And then they sort of go for top 4 again next year. However, I do give credit to Chelsea after inevitably losing Courtois to Real Madrid. They do sign Kepa from, Kepa, I think it's pronounced, yeah? Kepa from Athletic Bilbao for a new world record fee of, I think, like £71.5 million. Now, unfortunately for Chelsea, Kepa is not as good, or well, I mean, he's not as proven at least as Courtois is, but being a couple of years younger and obviously having the one, I think he's got like one Spanish cap, he's a very promising young keeper, and you know, you have to congratulate Chelsea for managing to bring someone in so fast after losing Courtois. My only other concern with Chelsea is just where are they going to get the goals from this season? I don't know. They're still sort of struggling with that striker position. Morata, he looks like his confidence is completely on the floor. Nothing seems to be able to pick him up. Obviously, Giroud, we know, is good for scoring goals sort of late on when coming off the bench. Is he a starter though? I don't think so. So who are they going to be looking to for goals? I mean, it's quite clearly obviously going to have to be Hazard. But even Hazard hasn't managed more than about 17 goals in a Premier League season. So I don't even know if that'll quite cut it for them, to be honest. And even so, like I mentioned in the last video, if Real Madrid come calling for Hazard like they can do for another 3 weeks, you know, if his head's turned, it could be a bit of a disaster for Chelsea. But my personal opinion, I don't think he'll leave. However, that doesn't change my mind. I don't think they'll be getting any higher than 6th, or maybe 5th at the best. 5th spot now in a big turn of events, I've put Tottenham Hotspur. Now, Tottenham are the only club in the whole of the Premier League who haven't made a single signing. And I'm sorry, but if you're going to be competing for Champions League football, especially in the Premier League with those 6 teams so close together, you have to improve your squad, you have to strengthen. And okay, yeah, fair enough, Tottenham have done, you know, an unbelievable bit of business in tying their star players down to long-term contracts. But where I'm concerned with Tottenham is they have no depth, like they have no backups. Like, okay, Kane, you've got Kane as a goal scorer who, he'll score you, what, 25 plus goals a season, and that's in the league alone. But what happens if he gets injured? Who do you turn to then? Llorente? Do you then maybe have to pull Son out and put Son up front, but then who do you put in his position? Players like Eriksen, if Eriksen gets injured or suspended or whatever, there's no one else in that team that can do the things he does. You know, they just don't have that depth or the quality and depth anyway for me to be able to get top 4 again this season. I think the teams above them have improved too much and strengthened too much. In 4th, the same as last time, I've got Arsenal for obviously the reasons like I mentioned. They've made some good signings, strengthened in the areas they needed to, and I think Lucas Torreira will be a really important player for Arsenal this season, as like any other Arsenal player in that squad, he's not afraid to put in a tackle, he's not afraid to be, you know, sort of dirty and give the other opposition a bit of a push around, and he's going to do the dirty work that none of the other Arsenal midfielders like to do, which could then in fact obviously give Ozil the freedom to stay forward and not be called lazy because he's not the one tracking back when, you know, it's not his job to do to start with. Aubameyang will be like a new signing. He'll probably be up there in contention for the Golden Boot, but I just think as a whole the squad's not quite good enough to challenge for the title yet. However, Arsenal are probably going to take getting back into the top 4, especially with all the competition surrounding it. In 3rd place, and quite a big jump from obviously 5th where I put them last time, I've put Manchester United. Now that's probably a really weird one considering the fact they didn't actually sign anybody on deadline or, you know, manage to get in that centre-back that they, in my opinion, desperately needed. But like I mentioned, there's been a lot of negativity coming out of the club. Obviously Mourinho coming out and saying that he's not overly happy with his team and he's not happy with the board for essentially saying that the players he wanted weren't good enough or they already had the equivalent quality at the club. And we know that Martial is obviously unhappy that the relationship between him and Mourinho hasn't been good for a while now, and I wouldn't put it past him to be setting off sometime soon within the next 3 weeks. And then of course there's the Pogba rumours, which I guess no one really knows how true they actually are, but rumours that he'd kind of semi-agreed a contract with Barcelona, and he wasn't really too interested in staying at the club, as I think his and Mourinho, like Martial's, their relationship hasn't been the greatest. However, over the last couple of days I was just sat thinking about it, and it's more of a gut feeling, I think, this one. I just think with the sort of size and stature of Manchester United, and I guess how good they are defensively and actually hard to beat as a team, I think the grinding out the results will get them into the top 4. Second, again, we've got Liverpool. Like mentioned before, they've made some quality signings, the signing of Alisson. Obviously Shaqiri, absolute bargain, like he's probably worth at least double the price tag we paid for him. And then Keita, who can play either side of midfield, central midfield, attacking midfield, defensive midfield. Fabinho, who can play central midfield, defensive midfield, centre back, full back. You know, we've signed some really versatile midfielders to strengthen in all areas. And then of course Alisson, who is a keeper that can actually play at the level we're trying to get at. So we have strengthened in all the right areas, and I think we'll be the closest team to challenge City for the title. However, City, obviously like I mentioned before, I've got them as champions. They didn't really need to improve the team this summer. They brought in Mahrez, who to be fair, probably better than Sterling and definitely better than Bernardo Silva. So they have actually strengthened the team, but they didn't need to. And they have. That's the official Premier League prediction video for the 2018-2019 season. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, dislike it and comment below. Let me know why so I can improve for next time. And also let me know your Premier League predictions. Did you agree with me? Did you not agree with me? Was I too biased towards Liverpool? Was I not biased enough towards Liverpool? And do you think they could go on and win the league? Did I not give your club the credit that they deserved? Whatever the case, let me know. My Twitter, Instagram and Snapchat will all be in the description below. As well, obviously you can comment on the video and let me know there. And yeah, until next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Ooh, all the rebels just for kicks now. I've been feeling it since 1966.